4 years ago, my cousin stole my guitar and sold it. Last week, I played that same guitar at his wedding, right before telling everyone how I got it back. My name's Luke, 28, male, and for as long as I can remember, music has been the only thing that kept me sane. My dad gave me this guitar when I was 15, a beat-up Fender Strat with chips along the edges, worn frets, and this strange warmth in the wood that only comes from being played for decades. He told me, "This isn't just wood and strings, it's a piece of me, and one day, it'll be a piece of you." That guitar carried me through every heartbreak, every sleepless night, every time I felt like I wasn't enough. And then my cousin Ryan, 30 male, stole it. Ryan has always been the chaotic one in the family. We grew up in the same small Indiana town, but while I was the quiet kid learning riffs in my room, he was the type to sneak out, crash parties, and somehow convince people to forgive him even after he wrecked their cars or stole their weed. Ryan has this charm that makes people look past all the wreckage he leaves behind. My aunt used to laugh it off as Ryan being Ryan. But I knew better. I'd lived under the weight of his games for years. The theft happened 4 years ago. I came home from my crappy retail job to find my bedroom door jimmied open. At first, I thought maybe my mom had gone in looking for laundry, but no, the case was gone. My Strat. My dad's Strat. I tore the place apart like maybe I'd misplaced it, but deep down, I knew. Ryan had been hanging around earlier that week, making comments like, "Man, this thing must be worth a fortune, huh?" He even joked about pawning it, laughing that stupid laugh of his. I confronted him the next day. He didn't even deny it. Just smirked and said, "Relax, man, it's just a guitar. You'll get another one. I needed the cash." I can't even describe the rage that boiled up in me. It felt like he didn't just steal an object. He stole years of my life, my dad's memory, my safe place. I wanted to break his jaw right there, but my mom grabbed my arm and begged me not to start drama. Classic family move. Protect the golden boy from consequences. That night, I sat on the floor of my empty room, staring at the spot where the case used to be, and I swear it felt like a funeral. My dad had passed just 2 years before that, and losing the guitar felt like losing him all over again. I stopped playing after that. Couldn't even bring myself to touch another instrument. Every time I thought about it, I just saw Ryan's smug face. And then, last week, Ryan got married. Big church wedding, rented tuxes, white roses, the whole "we're classy now" package. I wasn't even planning to go, but my mom begged me, said, "Family is family." Against every instinct, I showed up. I was half prepared to just sit in the back, clap politely, and get out. But when I walked into the reception hall and saw the band setting up, my stomach dropped. Propped up on a stand, shining under the lights, was my guitar. My guitar. I nearly blacked out from the mix of rage and disbelief. And right there, in that moment, I knew I wasn't leaving that wedding quietly. Seeing my guitar up there on that stage was like taking a fist straight to the chest. I couldn't breathe. My brain went white noise. I kept blinking, thinking maybe it wasn't the same one. Maybe it was just another Strat with the same finish. But no. The cigarette burn near the pickguard, the chip on the headstock where I dropped it on my garage floor at 17, that was mine. No doubt. And the sickest part? Ryan was strutting around the hall like some big-shot groom, acting like he'd built this empire out of charm and good decisions, while the evidence of his betrayal sat 20 feet from the buffet table. Ryan has always been the type who craves a spotlight he didn't earn. Growing up, he never practiced anything, sports, school, music, but he'd still show up at family parties bragging about being the next Hendrix. He'd grab my guitar without asking, pluck a sloppy riff, and grin like he was auditioning for Rolling Stone. Everyone would clap and laugh because he was so talented, while I sat there grinding my teeth, knowing he hadn't practiced a single hour for it. It's not just the guitar. He's stolen more than that over the years. When I landed my first construction job at 19, Ryan went around telling everyone he hooked me up. When I had a girlfriend in college, he slid into her DMs with jokes about how she'd be better off with him. I swear, the guy has a radar for what matters to people just so he can ruin it. And still, my family shields him. My Aunt Gloria once told me, "Ryan just has a big personality. You can't take it so seriously." But I do take it seriously. I always have. Because every time he got away with it, I felt smaller, invisible. So when I saw that guitar, I wasn't just looking at wooden strings. I was looking at every time Ryan had stolen a piece of me, and every time my family decided it wasn't worth rocking the boat. I slipped out to the lobby, gripping the edge of a table until my knuckles went white. My mom found me there. She was in her dress, fanning herself with the program. "Luke, what's wrong?" "What's wrong?" I could feel my voice shaking. "That's my guitar, on the stage." Her face went pale, then defensive, like she was bracing herself. "Luke, honey, it's Ryan's wedding. Don't start something today." I laughed, loud, bitter. "Don't start something? He stole Dad's guitar from me, sold it, and now he's parading it around like it's his?" She touched my arm. "I know it hurt, but you've held on to this anger too long. Maybe it's time to just let it go. It's his big day." That broke something in me. I pulled my arm away. "You sound just like him, like I'm the problem, like I should just swallow it." She looked at me with that tired, pleading expression that always meant, "Please don't ruin the family image." And in that moment, I realized, nobody here was ever going to stand up for me. Not her. Not anyone. I was alone with the truth, and the truth was burning a hole in my chest. I didn't know how yet, but I knew I wasn't leaving that place without making Ryan feel it. Without everyone knowing exactly what he did. Don't forget to subscribe. I went back into the reception hall, and suddenly every laugh, every clink of champagne glasses felt like nails on a chalkboard. Ryan was holding court near the head table, his arms slung around his new wife, Ashley. She's sweet, honestly. Too sweet for him. Ashley's the kind of person who remembers everyone's birthday and cries at commercials. She met Ryan 3 years ago and bought into his act. His bad boy turned responsible man routine. And somehow, against all odds, she's convinced herself she tamed him. I wanted to tell her right then. I wanted to walk up, look her dead in the eyes and say, "He stole from his own family. He lies like he breathes. You don't know who you married." But I didn't. Not yet. Instead, I wandered closer to the band. The guitarist was tuning up, and I just stood there staring at my Strat. I wanted to snatch it right then, storm out the doors, but I knew if I did that, it'd just get spun against me. Luke ruined Ryan's wedding. Luke's obsessed with the past. I could hear the whispers before they even formed. So I waited. When the first dances started, I caught Ryan watching me. He always had this sixth sense about confrontation, like he could feel when someone was about to call him on his bullshit. He grinned, raised his glass toward me like we were sharing some private joke. That smirk was gasoline on fire. Ashley's dad gave a speech, all about how Ryan was the kind of man who'd do anything for family. I nearly choked on my drink. I glanced at my mom across the room. She looked down at her lap. She knew. She'd always known. Then came the moment that twisted the knife. The band leader announced Ryan was going to play a song for Ashley. Of course, he reached for my guitar. He strutted onto the stage, kissed her hand like some rock star, and strapped it on. My stomach dropped. And here's the kicker. He couldn't play. Not really. He fumbled through a couple chords, missed half the notes, but everyone still clapped like he was goddamn Eric Clapton. Ashley teared up. Aunt Gloria shouted, "That's my boy." I stood frozen, watching my cousin desecrate the one thing that meant more to me than anything. Every chord he butchered felt like another slap in the face. That's when the idea clicked. I wasn't just going to tell them, I was going to show them. I slipped over to the band leader during dinner, leaned in close and said, "Hey, mind if I play a song later? It's for Ryan." He grinned, nodded, no questions asked. Perfect. Meanwhile, Ryan was working the room, basking in his fake glory. But I noticed something. Ashley's smile didn't quite reach her eyes anymore. Maybe she was picking up on the cracks, or maybe I was projecting. Still, the energy shifted. The champagne buzz, the fake laughter. It all felt like it was teetering, waiting for something to snap. And I was about to be the one to snap it. I sat there through dinner with my heart pounding in my throat. Fork in my hand, but I couldn't eat a bite. My eyes kept flicking between Ryan laughing at the head table and my guitar glowing under the lights like it was daring me to move. Every toast felt like a bad joke. Uncle Mike talked about Ryan being a man of honor. Ashley's maid of honor said he was the most genuine soul she'd ever met. Each word landed like a nail hammered into my skull. I wanted to stand up and scream, but I kept my mouth shut and waited. Finally, the band leader tapped the mic. Before we kick into dancing, we've got a special request. Luke, the groom's cousin, has a song for him and Ashley. The room went quiet. Dozens of faces turned toward me. Ryan froze mid-laugh, his drink halfway to his mouth. That smirk faltered for the first time all night. I walked up slowly, my chest buzzing like I'd swallowed electricity. The bandleader handed me the guitar. My guitar. My hands shook when I strapped it on. I hadn't touched it in 4 years, but it felt like coming home. The wood was warm, familiar. My dad's guitar. I strummed a few test chords, clean, sharp, the room vibrating with sound. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Everyone had heard Ryan's clumsy attempt earlier. They knew immediately I wasn't him. I leaned into the mic. "This guitar," I said, my voice steady but low, "was a gift from my dad when I was 15. It's the only thing I had left of him. 4 years ago, it disappeared. Stolen. Sold. And somehow, it made its way here, tonight." You could feel the air shift. People sat straighter, whispering. Ashley's smile vanished. Ryan's face went blotchy red. I played. Not a cheesy wedding ballad. Not a love song. I poured 4 years of rage, grief, and silence into the strings. The room hushed, eyes locked on me, Ashley covering her mouth with her hands. When I finished, my chest was heaving like I'd just run a marathon. I looked straight at Ryan. This guitar was mine, my father's. Ryan stole it from me. He pawned it for cash, and I never thought I'd see it again, until today. The crowd erupted. Gasps, murmurs, a few people outright shouting, "What?" Ryan stood so fast his chair clattered over. "He's lying!" he barked, voice cracking. Ashley turned to him, tears in her eyes. "Ryan, is that true?" He sputtered, stammered, tried to laugh it off. "Babe, come on, he's just jealous. He's always been jealous." But nobody was buying it. Not after hearing me play, not after seeing his face collapse in real time. And that's when I realized the whole room wasn't on his side anymore. For the first time in my life, Ryan couldn't charm his way out. I held the guitar close like it was finally safe again, and I knew this wasn't over, not even close. Don't forget to subscribe. Update. Wow. I did not expect this to blow up like it did. I posted last night thinking maybe a handful of people would read it. Maybe a couple of musicians would nod along and get it. Instead, I woke up to hundreds of comments, DMs, people sharing their own golden child cousin family thief stories. I can't lie. It felt good. For the first time in years, it wasn't just me screaming into the void. People actually got it. Some of y'all said I should have just walked out with the guitar and left it at that. Others said I should have smashed it right there on the stage. Tempting, not gonna lie. But the overwhelming response was the same. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't overreacting. Ryan was the problem all along. So here's what went down after I left off. The room was chaos. Ashley's side of the family was whispering and glaring at Ryan like they were seeing him for the first time. My side was split down the middle, half of them stunned silent, the other half, mainly Aunt Gloria, yelling at me for ruining the happiest day of Ryan's life. Ryan kept screaming that I was lying, that I was making it all up, until finally Ashley just turned to him and said, "Tell me it's not true. Swear to me it's not true." He couldn't. He tried. God, he tried. But his face gave him away, and when Ashley's dad stepped in, grabbed Ryan by the shoulder and said, "Is this how you treat family?" I thought Ryan was going to explode, and he did. He started crying. No joke. 30-year-old man in a tux, sobbing like a toddler, screaming that everyone was against him. He knocked over a glass trying to point at me, wine spilling across the tablecloth. At one point, he actually shouted, "It was just a guitar," like that was supposed to make it better. That's when Ashley ripped her veil off and stormed out. Her bridesmaids followed, her parents too, leaving Ryan in the middle of a room full of people who suddenly weren't clapping for him anymore. I didn't even leave right away. I just sat there, holding my guitar, watching the implosion unfold. For the first time in my life, Ryan was exposed in front of everyone. No excuses. No charming his way out. Just raw, ugly truth. And I swear to God it was like my dad was in the room with me, nodding. I don't know where things go from here. Last I heard, Ashley went home with her parents and Ryan got drunk at the hotel bar until someone dragged him upstairs. Half my family is furious at me for airing dirty laundry. The other half quietly texted me things like, "Proud of you," and "It's about time." But me? I've got the guitar back. It's sitting next to me as I type this. And I don't regret a damn thing. The morning after the wedding, I woke up to 30 missed calls. Half from my mom, half from numbers I didn't recognize. I didn't answer any of them. Just sat there at my kitchen table, my guitar propped against the wall, strumming quietly like I was reminding myself it was really mine again. Then came the banging on my door. I looked through the peephole. Ryan. Hair a mess, tuck shirt half untucked, face blotchy like he hadn't slept. He was pounding so hard the frame rattled. "Open the door, you little bitch." I didn't. I stood there, heart hammering, listening to him scream. "You ruined my wedding. You think you're some kind of hero? Everyone knows you're a jealous loser. That guitar was mine. I paid for it." Which was a lie, obviously. He kept going, voice cracking, until finally he kicked the door. Hard. That's when I opened it. Slowly. Guitar still in my hands. We stared at each other. Him, shaking with rage. Me, cold for once. "You're not taking this from me again," I said, my voice low. "You stole it once. That's done." He lunged like he was going to grab it. Instinct kicked in. I shoved him back so hard he stumbled into the railing of my porch. He froze there, eyes wide, like he wasn't used to me fighting back. "You lay a finger on me or this guitar again," I told him. "And I swear, Ryan, you'll regret it." He sputtered, pointing like a kid caught in a lie. "You're dead to me. You hear me? Dead." Then he stormed off, yelling over his shoulder about how he'd make sure the whole family knew the truth. And oh, he did. By noon, my phone was exploding with texts. "How could you humiliate Ryan like that? He says you made the whole thing up to get attention. Did you really shove him?" Aunt Gloria sent me a paragraph about how I'd traumatized Ashley and embarrassed the family name. But here's the thing. Ashley texted me too. Just 3 words. "Thank you." Finally. That cracked something wide open. Maybe she'd known pieces of what Ryan was. Maybe she'd seen the lies, the manipulations, but never had proof. Until now. Ryan, though? He wasn't done. That night, I came home from work to find my truck keyed. Deep, jagged scratches down both sides, like someone had taken out their rage in long, ugly strokes. And taped to the windshield? A note in Ryan's handwriting. "Play with fire, get burned." I just stood there in the parking lot, staring at the damage, my fists clenching so hard my nails dug into my palms. He wanted war. He wanted me to break so he could play the victim again. But not this time. This time, I was going to end it. And not with fists, not with cops. With something he couldn't wiggle out of. Something he'd never live down. The next few days were a blur of family drama. Aunt Gloria wouldn't stop calling. My mom begged me to apologize, just to smooth things over. Even my uncle, who barely speaks at family gatherings, sent me a Facebook message that just said, "You went too far." But Ashley kept texting me. Not long conversations, just small pieces. Questions. How long had Ryan been like this? Had he done stuff like this before? What else didn't she know? That's when I realized Ashley wasn't angry at me. She was angry at him. And for the first time in her relationship, she had someone confirming her gut feelings weren't just paranoia. Meanwhile, Ryan was spiraling. He showed up at my job one afternoon, yelling at me in the parking lot, calling me a thief. My boss came out and told him to leave or the cops would be called. Ryan kicked over a trash can and peeled off, tires screeching. A grown man acting like a teenager denied a prom date. But the keyed truck, that stuck in my chest like a splinter. He wanted me to feel powerless, and I couldn't let him win. So, I made a plan. Ashley had invited me over just to talk. I hesitated at first, but when I got there, she looked wrecked. Red eyes, mascara stains, like she hadn't slept since the wedding. She told me Ryan had been screaming at her every night since, flipping between crying apologies and accusing her of betraying him. At one point, he threw a lamp against the wall because she looked at him wrong. That was my opening. "Ashley," I said carefully, "do you still have the pawn receipt?" Her head snapped up. "What?" "The pawn shop. He sold the guitar. There'd be a record, right? If you found it, if you bought it back, there has to be paperwork." She nodded slowly, like gears were clicking into place. I think I saw it in his desk. He kept a copy. And just like that, I had him. Proof. Black and white. Ashley handed me a crumpled slip of paper later that night. Ryan's name, date, item description, 1979 Fender Stratocaster. I stared at it, my pulse pounding in my ears. This wasn't just a receipt. This was a weapon. So here's what I did. I made copies. Sent them anonymously to Ashley's parents, to Ryan's boss. Yeah, turns out he works at a local car dealership where trust is their whole branding. And this part was the cherry on top. I taped one to the door of Aunt Gloria's house. No explanation, just the receipt. By the next morning, the grenade had gone off. Ashley's dad called me, his voice shaking with fury. "Luke, I owe you an apology. We should have believed you from the start. That boy's been lying to all of us." Ryan's boss called him into the office and suspended him on the spot. Apparently, pawnshop theft from family didn't align with their family values commercials. And Gloria? She showed up at my door crying, begging me not to turn the whole family against Ryan. For once, I didn't cave. I just shut the door in her face. Ryan's life was collapsing, and I hadn't even started playing dirty yet. Update 2. Okay, so I didn't think I'd be back this soon, but holy hell, things escalated fast. First off, y'all are wild. Some of the comments on my last update had me laughing out loud. One person said, "You should have played Free Bird and walked off like a legend." Another said, "Next family reunion, bring the guitar and play Highway to Hell." Noted. Might still do it. But a bunch of you kept saying, "Get proof. Receipts don't lie." Well, guess what? I got the damn receipt. Ashley found it in Ryan's desk. The actual pawn slip with his name on it, dated 4 years ago, describing my exact guitar. I made copies and, yeah, I may have dropped them off to some very strategic people. The fallout? Nuclear. Ashley's parents are furious, not at me, but at Ryan. Her dad actually called to apologize for ever doubting me, said I did the right thing. He's standing by Ashley, which basically means Ryan lost the only allies he had on her side. His job? Toast. Turns out when you work at a dealership that plasters trust, loyalty, integrity on billboards, getting caught stealing from family doesn't exactly fit the image. They suspended him immediately. Word is they're reviewing his position, which is corporate speak for start cleaning out your desk. And the family? Split right down the middle. Aunt Gloria tried spinning it, saying, "Well, lots of people pawn things when they're desperate." Yeah, except most people don't pawn their dead uncle's heirloom and lie about it for years. My mom hasn't said much, but she texted me one line last night. "I'm sorry. I should have defended you." That one hit harder than I expected. Now here's the best part. Ryan knows it was me. He showed up outside my apartment again, screaming at the top of his lungs that I'd ruined his life, that I'd taken everything from him. Which is hilarious, considering he's the one who took everything from me. He was pounding on my door until the neighbors came out and threatened to call the cops. He drove off swerving like a maniac. So yeah, Ryan's unraveling fast, Ashley's staying with her parents, the dealership's about to can him, and his golden boy image is dust. And me? I'm sitting here with my guitar across my lap, playing it for the first time in years. It sounds better than I remembered. Honestly, Reddit, I don't even know what comes next. But for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm not the one carrying the weight anymore. 2 nights after update number 2, I came home late from work and immediately felt something was wrong. The hallway smelled like smoke. Not thick, not fire, but burnt. Plastic, maybe. My stomach dropped. I unlocked my apartment door and froze. My living room was trashed. Couch cushions slashed, drawers dumped out, glass shattered across the floor. And my guitar case, wide open. Empty. I swear my chest stopped working. I tore through the apartment, bedroom, kitchen, even the damn bathroom, but the guitar was gone. My Strat. Again. And I knew exactly who did it. Ryan. I bolted outside, scanning the lot. Sure enough, there he was, standing by his car, holding the guitar like a hostage. He was swaying, clearly drunk, his tie hanging loose around his neck. "You want this so bad?" he slurred. "You love this thing more than family? Then watch." Before I could even process, he raised it over his head like he was about to smash it against the pavement. I don't even remember running. I just remember tackling him so hard we both hit the asphalt. The guitar clattered beside us. He clawed at me, screaming, spitting in my face, swinging like a wild animal. "You ruined me!" he shrieked. "You took everything!" We wrestled in the parking lot, neighbors yelling from balconies. I don't fight. I'm not built for it. But in that moment, with his hands grabbing at the guitar case, I swear I felt something primal snap loose inside me. I shoved him back, hard. His head smacked the side of his own car door with a hollow clang. He went down, groaning, blood trickling from his eyebrow. Silence for a beat. Then voices. Someone had called 911. The cops arrived minutes later, red and blue lights flashing, questions firing faster than I could answer. Ryan, of course, started wailing about how I'd attacked him, how I was violent, how I'd broken into my own apartment to frame him. The lies poured out like reflex. But then one of my neighbors stepped forward. Mrs. Callahan, this older lady who's lived down the hall for years. She shook her head and said, clear as day. "I saw him break in. I saw him carrying the guitar." That shut Ryan up. The cops cuffed him right there, blood on his face, still screaming that I'd regret this. They loaded him into the cruiser while I stood there shaking, clutching the guitar to my chest like it was a child I'd just pulled from a fire. The officer told me to expect a call about pressing charges, breaking and entering, vandalism, theft, maybe assault, depending on how far I wanted to push it. And for the first time ever, Ryan was the one in handcuffs. Not me being told to calm down, not me being told to let it go. Him. But as I locked my door that night and set the guitar gently back in its case, I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't the end. Ryan wasn't the type to accept consequences. He was the type to burn the whole world down before admitting fault. And something told me he wasn't done trying. Ryan made bail within 24 hours. Of course he did. Aunt Gloria scraped together the money, lecturing the cops about how boys make mistakes. When I heard, I wasn't even surprised. That's how it had always been, cleaning up his messes, pretending he wasn't a disaster. But this time, the mask was gone. The whole family had seen him cuffed, bleeding, screaming. Ashley had moved back in with her parents. His job wasn't just reviewing his position anymore. They fired him outright. And I could feel it building, this storm he was going to unleash, because that's who Ryan is. If he can't win, he'll make sure everyone else loses too. 3 nights later, I woke up at 3 a.m. to pounding on my door. Not knocking. Pounding. I grabbed the baseball bat I keep by my bed and yelled through the door, "Ryan, I'll call the cops." Silence. Then a laugh. "I don't care anymore," he screamed. His voice cracked, raw and unhinged. "If I can't have my life, neither can you." I peered through the peephole and my blood froze. He had a gas can in his hand. Before I could even think, I dialed 911 with shaking fingers. He was sloshing the liquid across my door, muttering to himself, and then, flick, pulled out a lighter. Adrenaline took over. I yanked the door open, bat raised, and roared, "Drop it!" The neighbors were awake now, lights flicking on, people yelling. Ryan stumbled back, startled, but the gas had already soaked part of the carpet outside my unit. Sirens wailed in the distance. Closer, closer. Ryan's wild eyes darted between me, the lighter, and the crowd gathering in the hall. For a second, I thought he'd go through with it. Torch the whole damn building out of spite. But then the cops barreled in, tackling him before he could spark it. The gas can clattered, rolling down the hall. Ryan hit the ground screaming, kicking, sobbing. He ruined my life. He took everything from me. They dragged him out in cuffs again, this time with half the building watching. No one clapped. No one spoke. Just stunned silence, broken only by Ashley's dad, who'd shown up mid-chaos. He looked at me, then at Ryan being shoved into the cruiser, and said quietly, "You saved her life. You saved all of us." That was the last time I saw Ryan. He's sitting in county now, facing charges that go way beyond family drama. Arson, attempted assault, burglary. Aunt Gloria still calls me a monster for pushing him to the edge. But the rest of the family? They finally stopped pretending. Finally admitted he wasn't a troubled boy. He was dangerous. As for me, my guitar sits in the corner of my living room. The strings hum under my fingers like they're alive again. For the first time in 4 years, I play without bitterness. Because I won. Not just against Ryan, against the silence, against the gaslighting, against the part of me that always swallowed pain to keep peace. Ryan stole my guitar, but I got it back. And in the end, I got something better too, my voice. And I'll never let him take that again.